Republican Glenn Youngkin defeats Democrat Terry McAuliffe in high-stakes Virginia governor election. This is an insider story. In Virginia's gubernatorial election, he won. Tuesday's race was the biggest test of President Joe Biden and his party's strength since Democrats won back in the White House in November of 2022 and the Senate in January. Youngkin, a wealthy former private equity executive and a co-CEO of the Carlyle Group, as a political newcomer and funded much of his own campaign on the campaign trail. Youngkin depicted himself as an economic conservative and largely avoided discussing former President Trump, who lost Virginia by double digits in 2020. Trump spokesperson Liz Harrington shared a statement on Twitter saying that Trump and Youngkin get along very well together and strongly believe in many of the same policies. At the same time, the biggest story, believe it or not, wasn't the governor, it was a lieutenant governor. Marine veteran Winsome Sears becomes first female and woman of color elected as Virginia's lieutenant governor. CBS News, Republican Winsome Sears was elected as Virginia's new lieutenant governor on Tuesday night, becoming the first woman first woman of color to serve in that position. I'm at loss for words for the first time in my life, Sears said in an address to supporters on election night. What you are looking at is the American dream. The American dream. This is not the first barrier Sears has broken. Sears, a U.S. Marine veteran, previously served in Virginia's House of Delegates. She was the first black Republican woman, first female veteran, and first legal immigrant woman elect. I think she's from Haiti. She's from Jamaica. Woman elected to that position. She says on her campaign website, when my father came to this country, August 11, 1963, he came at the height of the civil rights movement from Jamaica, and he only came with $1.75, she said in her victory speech. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was still a Jamaican, but this country had done so much for me. I was willing to die for this country. How big of a deal is this? The fact that Republicans won Virginia. Tom, I'm going to you first.
I think it's a huge, huge deal that has implications going into the midterm. And the Democrats are in disarray. And I'm going to curse. Starting with the sleeping shitter, everybody from the top down is freaking out about what's going on. This morning I was reading, James Carville came up and said, we need to go to the woke detox center because the defund police lunacy and take Lincoln names off schools is being noticed by mainstream Americans and voters, and they don't like it. On the other side, the far left, where 5% are, Catman, Omar said, we need to double down because this race baiting that defeated us, by the way, she said that, this race baiting that defeated us, wait a minute, she's got that flipped over. Yeah. So, and then Tim Kaine, Democrat Ohio, he said, let me tell you, folks, we better get our act together because this is the ghost of Christmas future.
Wasn't Tim Kaine a VP candidate?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. 6 years ago.
Wasn't he from Virginia at the time? And then now he's Democrat Ohio. Well, once upon a time, Hillary was in Arkansas, then she was in New York.
And JFK Jr. was alive.
But look at that. You've got moderation from Tim Kaine, reasonable statement. Carville freaking out saying, hey, all the stuff that we did with defund the police and all take Lincoln off schools is bad. And then Omar saying, no, we need to double down. It's like there's three parties in the Democrat Party and they're all freaked out. But I'm so really, really proud to see a person that came over, and she's lieutenant governor now. Her speech, her story, I think, to me, that's the biggest story of the election, is someone comes from somewhere and they can...
Adam, what do you think? Your thoughts?
I think you're missing the biggest story, is that this non-politician came in there and he actually ran as a traditional economic conservative Republican. He did not embrace Trump at all. And actually he said, I'm here for Virginia. Let's keep this election about Virginia. Trump, I don't need you on this one, buddy. And that's the playbook. If you want to win the general election, if you're a Republican, if you want to win your state and saying, hey, Trump, I respect you. Thank you for all you've done. I'm good. Because it's all about converting. Yes, if you're going to embrace Trump and run to the MAGA crowd, sure, you're going to get that, but you're not going to win a state like Virginia. Biden won Virginia by, I think, double-digit points.
13.
A year ago. 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And now Terry McAuliffe, who was the governor of Virginia, 10 years ago, running again, lost to Youngkin. The playbook here is that you don't need Trump to win. You're going to get moderates like myself or people that could go either way and say, you know what? The best ideas are with this guy Youngkin. This guy, Terry McAuliffe, shot himself in the foot because he made a lot of comments about parents and school and, critical race and stuff like that. And people said, I'm sick of that. And you have people like James Carville and
That wasn't
Tim
the wor-
Tim
that
Kaine.
but that wasn't the worst thing he said. He told parents that they have no business telling
that's what he
this.
said.
He said
you have no right. You
no
have
right
no
to
say
tell
in
us- tell
this
us
thing.
state.
You guys
He
do
made
not.
some bad comments. Correct. Like that clearly shot himself in the foot. The bottom line is what I'm saying is this guy won fair and square. He didn't need to cozy up to Trump in order to win. That's going to be the playbook for other moderate Republicans moving forward. Is that look, fight your fight. You don't need Trump there for you, backing you up. You can win without Trump, and I hope to see that happen.
Hold on. Virginia's a blue state. You think the Republicans won? You don't think Democrats flipped?
No, that's his point. That's literally
literally what I
You were
just
talking
said.
about moderate Republicans, that you don't need Trump with moderate Republicans. You didn't say that Democrat are the ones that flipped, because that's what ended up happening here.
I'm saying independents and moderate Democrats flipped. Yes,
Yes.
So you
exactly
don't-
what
so
I'm saying.
No, I think what he's saying is if he had embraced Trump, those that flipped may not have because of the
Precisely.
No, I don't agree with that.
Why is that? Tell us why.
No, I don't agree with it because people are tired of the woke left. Trump or no Trump, people are tired of it. They're tired. They're done of you telling them how to live their life. Trump or no Trump, I think Virginia was going to flip.
Yeah, but I'll say this. I think the Republican strategist over here, I think, does have a valid point.
No,
because
I
look at
agree.
California,
I
Ricky.
agree.
Look at we're sick of the woke mentality too, but we didn't get rid of Gavin Newsom. I think this is a win for common sense.
California is a whole different demon.
All right, okay, it
You
is.
can't compare it to Virginia.
But okay,
Tom.
let's
It's
talk
not the
about
same
Virginia for a
thing.
second. I think this is a win for sanity. I think this is a win for common sense. If you have hope, because he flipped this thing in the last month or two. I mean, he was way behind in the polls, and when this idiot McAuliffe went out there and started talking about CRT, and telling the parents they have no choice, that was it. The suburban mom says you're done, all right? And that's how I think it's going to be in other parts of the country as well.
Well, yeah, New
I
Jersey's about to
disagree.
flip right
I
now.
disagree, and this is why.
Disagree
I
with
would
what?
hope that they're going to flip because a lot of people have been talking to me about that too. That this is going to be a purple state and it's open.
New Jersey
And I'm
or
going to tell you
Virginia?
why. I'm going to tell you why I don't think that it is because there are some strategists, and I talked to a couple of them, and they're like, our policies worked. Jack Ciattarelli only lost in New Jersey, even though they called it, even though the votes aren't fully tallied yet, maybe 2,000 votes.
Yep.
He's had 10,000 people. Bill Murphy alone in the last 4 years has had 100,000 people that would have voted against him leave the state. So what they're saying is now there's 4 years where they can widen that gap. Let's get more of these independents out. Let's strengthen our base. And let's get these small business owners out. Let's get these older people out. Let's use our policies. And what Ilhan Omar is saying, she's a dog whistle and she's using coded language, but what she's saying is that we need to primary these moderates. Justice Democrats, that far left, they do not go after the right. They don't run in blue county, in purple areas, and they don't run in red areas. They find blue strongholds, and they run far to the left of the incumbent. It's what they did with New York and AOC. AOC didn't unseat. She wasn't some young whippersnapper that unseated a Republican. She wasn't some young whippersnapper that came in and shook something up. She took a district that was Democrat for 70 years and made it socialist.
Yeah.
They run to the left of the left. That's what Ilhan Omar is doing. And that's what they're looking in Michigan right now, where they're literally burning documents. They're actually burning documents in Michigan right now because...
About what documents for what?
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, I must have missed it.
Yeah.
But that works in districts. That doesn't work on a national or state level.
Nonsense. It definitely works in the state level, and then it works. Politics start local, and they branch regional. If you make it untenable for a voting base to stay, they leave. They come to Florida. They leave. They go to North Carolina. So this 2,000. Remember, there's over 1 million more registered Democrats in New Jersey than Republicans. There's more registered Democrats in New Jersey than there are registered any other political affiliation combined outside of independents. And he won by 2,000 votes after 100,000 people left. In the next 4 years, if he does the mandates again, if he shuts businesses down again, another 100,000 are gone by the end of next year. It actually strengthens his power to hurt his state. I mean, so that's something you got to be very, very aware of, the actual politics, the political machinations behind this. You'd like to see it, but what I do hope on a federal level, with the midterms coming up, is people look at what Joe Manchin did. He held the line. He didn't allow himself to get bullied. Kristen Sinema didn't allow himself to get bullied. They tried to force this in before these elections. Now, Joe Manchin holds the keys to the Democratic Party. You got people that are coming up in these purple areas, in these purple districts, and they're looking at Joe Manchin saying, man, he's got a point. Joe Manchin could run this party if he really wants to. Joe Manchin is the guy that says, all right, now you guys come to me.
You think he realizes that?
I
Wants
do.
it?
I really do. And
He's the shadow Speaker of the House.
The third point I have on this is that, man, I love how much immigrants love this freaking country, man. And this is something the Republican Party screwed up with for 40 freaking years with their hard line against immigration. You look at what Winsome Sears is, you look at what Pat is, you look at what people are, man, and they come to this country and they're willing to fight for this country. I would love, like Israel has the birthright where you want to go to Israel. We should have a birthright. You want to be a communist? You get 2 years in any communist country that you want. We'll buy you the ticket there. You buy the ticket back. All right? You want to be a commie? Birthright. Birthright. Here you go. 2,000 American tax dollars. Enjoy Venezuela for 2 years. Come on back and let's have a conversation.
That was Pitbull's message at his concert about a month ago. You see that?
No.
Yeah.
Pitbull talking to the crowd.
The UFC fighter with the long hair too.
Masvidal.
Masvidal's doing the same thing.
Yeah. So let me go back to the question here, because this is the part I'm curious to know what you guys, because he took it there, and we went a little bit, but we didn't fully go there. So Trump 3 days ago said this guy's going to make a great governor. He flat out said it. So that is a form of an endorsement. Then they had a call yesterday after winning. And of course, he's playing the card of, listen, this is about Virginia. This is not about Trump. I'm just trying to do this to win this. I'm here for the state. Does Trump's endorsement mean today what it meant 3 years ago?
Yes.
Do you think it still means?
It's stronger. I think it's stronger. I don't think
Adam's saying no.
I'm going to say no.
Stronger.
I'm going to say no. We're tired of it. I seriously, I mean, I wasn't, I was in favor of what he did as president, but I'm not signing up for another 4 years of that. I think there's a better alternative.
No, there's not. There's not. But what we're failing to understand is that when Pat said something very true a while back. He says, when you go too far left, it creates a far right. When you go too far right, it creates a far left. Right? So what happened is that right now, bro, there's people still with Trump flags. There's boat rallies. He just had one. Yes, his word still carries weight. Maybe not with you, but I'll tell you one thing, and I don't care, and I'll say that it carries weight with me. Because if he endorsed somebody, I'm like, hey, bro, you were in the office, you dealt with these guys more than I did. If you're thinking that's the direction, that's the direction. By the way, I don't agree with everything because he created the vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine,
Ricky,
but
let me tell you something. You, as sincere and as heartfelt as you are, you might be literally the most irrelevant voter in America.
What do you mean?
You're a Republican in California. You carry zero weight. You can't even win your state. The fact that you love Trump is irrelevant. California ain't going to Trump. You can't get Gavin Newsom out of office, and everyone hates him. Your opinion is great in Glendale or wherever you live, Bakersfield. It's irrelevant, the fact that you love Trump. You need someone like Tom to say, I'm back on the Trump train, baby. You need someone like me saying, you know what, this guy fucking poopy pants Biden, I can't do it again.
Right.
Trump ain't gonna do it, homie. And that's why I'm saying your opinion is irrelevant.
I think you're wrong. I just think you're wrong. How do you have boat rallies?
I have $300 worth of bullshit quarters, pesos, saying that you're wrong.
Boat rallies
and I need $700 pesos more, buddy.
You just did a rally.
Did you hear the deal that we did, by the way? You didn't hear about the deal that we did? You seen that Ricky's putting his car for sale.
Yeah.
And he's been riding around on horses.
Okay.
So he's complaining about gas prices and inflation, and I said, Ricky, I'm gonna do you a favor. The shipping crisis and supply chain. I did it. I said, Ricky, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna take your car off your hand. It's fine. I got you. I'll pay the shipping fees. I'll pay the gas, $3 here in Florida. Thank you. I'll pay for the shipping. You just ride your horse around in Bakersfield. We'll be okay. And I'll spot you the $700 extra, so you don't have to worry about it, bro. So we'll call ourselves even. So I'll just send the new Mercedes over here to Florida.
Hey, Ricky, let me just say this one point. Yeah. I think Trump is a release for people that are so fed up with some of the crap that's going on. So he goes and does a rally where he knows he's going to be embraced. And he still is a brand, but I think the times call for a very serious politician.
Of course.
And somebody that really, really has the best interests of the country at the heart and is smart and strategic and has a proven track record. And it's probably leaning towards
Do you not realize how much sense Tom Zenner is making these days?
Hold on. So
Tom has been indoctrinated into the common sense.
No, hold on. So the highest stock market in American history, lowest unemployment in American history.
Right now is the current highest stock market in American history.
Because
right
it's
now,
inflation.
Today.
Inflation. Without inflation, the highest stock market in American history, the lowest unemployment in American history, energy independent, lower tensions with Russia and North Korea. That's not a track record?
Look, I'm just saying, but there's the other side of that, which divides the country, and someone else can do what he does in a different style and way.
Other presidents haven't done it.
To me, this is what it comes down
I
to.
look at facts. 44 other presidents haven't done it.
Let me
Ricky,
ask
you're
you
the
this.
most irrelevant voter in America.
No, it's not.
Congratulations.
It's not about being irrelevant. It reminds me of the factions back in the day with like Jerry Falwell and stuff like that, where you'd have to go get the evangelical faction, right? The DeSantis voter, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Every single Trump guy, they can yell, scream. Every single Trump guy would vote for DeSantis.
100%.
There are people who voted for Biden who would vote for DeSantis.
Correct.
There's not
Yes.
not a one single Biden voter who would vote for Trump.
Yeah, no.
So,
guys,
Yes. Do you understand what he just said, though?
I get, but you're not understanding what I'm telling you. I'm not a Trump guy.
Yeah, okay, sure.
No, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I like what he did because I look at the facts.
I think it was necessary as well.
Of course.
He was a
So
necessary evil.
bro.
in a lot of ways.
There's only one. There's
Or
only
necessary
one man
good,
that
or
I idolize.
chaotic good,
There's
however
only
you
one man that I idolize, and that's God. Outside of that, I don't idolize another man. I don't. He's not my savior. I hustled. I was slinging weed when George Bush was president. Allegedly. When I was 13, like, I don't need a man to fix my life. But what I'm saying is to say that he didn't do a good job with this country is completely ignorant.
To say that he only did a bad job would be naive. But to say he only did a good job would be naive.
I'm not telling you that's
there's a gray area there, buddy.
I'm not telling you that's not the case. But in 44 presidents haven't been able to do what he did. That's
What
the
do you mean
fact.
44
The
presidents
lowest
haven't been able to
unemployment
do
in
what
American
Trump's done?
history.
So you're basically saying Trump is the best president ever.
For what has another president been able to do that? I'm talking about specific topics. I'm not talking about he's the best human being in the world. Lowest unemployment in American history has never been done.
No, not
The
lowest
best-
in history.
the-
Lowest in 50 years.
No. If you look at it, especially with the Hispanic and the Black communities, it was the lowest in history. So what I'm telling you is this: when you look at the facts and you compare, if I have to go between Biden or Trump, but now if there's a DeSantis in the mix, of course DeSantis is going to be the best because he's going to win over people more. But right now we're not there. We're so extreme on both sides.
Pray that the Republican parties nominate someone like
I
DeSantis
hope
and not
so.
Trump.
By the way, DeSantis or
He will run
the one from
away in
Texas.
a heartbeat.
How
The-
useless,
the-
how
no,
useless
the-
is my
the
Libertarian
government-
Party
Habit-
that in this
Governor
area where
100%.
nobody wants a Republican or a Democrat, they can't even gain
Useless.
5% of the vote.
I didn't hear what you just said.
If The
Say
Rock
that.
ran as a
What did you
Libertarian,
just say?
I said, how useless is my Libertarian Party that in an era where literally nobody wants to vote Republican or Democrat, they can't even carry 5%
Because they don't
of the
have
vote.
a marketable candidate.
Yeah.
That's
Not a
all.
single
They don't have a
look at
marketable
who you guys have
candidate.
run. Joe Jorgensen
Yeah.
and Gary Johnson over the last...
I like Gary Johnson, but yeah,
You like Gary Johnson.
I did like Gary Johnson.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.